just to record a whole conversation. That way I can refer back to it if I need to. I have a terrible memory.
Okay.
Do you happen to have ID handy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for meeting us. I know you had probably a long day already.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And you're the coroner?
I am.
This is my
Love the
partner's
chief
dad.
deputy.
Is this address still good for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. I'll give that back to you. Okay, so one of the formalities is I'm going to read you Miranda. I don't want you to think you're in any kind of trouble. That's not the case. My goal here today is to have a discussion about what happened a couple years ago and then hopefully get you out of here before too long. So I don't plan on keeping you very long, but I at least want to take care of this form here, okay?
So there's no reason why would my Miranda rights be read?
So that way you understand your rights, know that you're speaking to us freely. Again, you don't have to talk
Am
to
I
us.
not supposed to speak to you freely?
No, it's
Like,
totally up to you. It's totally up to you whether you talk to us or not. Like I said, you're not in any kind of trouble. And if I ask you something that you don't want to answer at any point, you could just say, I'm done here. That's fine. I have no problems with that. And that's all going to be advised in here. Okay? So I'll read this. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll have a discussion and hopefully get you out the door here soon. Okay? Are you currently under the influence of any alcohol or drugs?
No.
Is English your primary language?
Yes.
What's your highest level of education?
Master's degree.
And do you know enough to ask me a question if you don't understand something?
Yes.
But you've already done that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So you have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer any questions. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to an attorney and have him present while you are being questioned. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided at government expense before any questioning if you wish. If you desire to make a statement or answer questions, you have the right to stop at any time. That's kind of what we were just talking about there. Do you understand each of those? Mm-hmm. Okay. Initial each one of those little lines, if you don't mind. Sign there, and then I'll sign the bottom portion. Thank you. Okay, so I know I kind of spoke to you briefly on the phone about it. I know this is all seems pretty like old news at this point. This is several years ago that this happened, right? So ultimately what happened, family contacted the coroner's office. They're not very happy with the outcome of the investigation, which is kind of what I was telling you on the phone. They are under the impression intentionally, not accidentally. Okay, so the coroner's office reached out to us and said, is there any way we can get some clarification on some of this investigation? We would like to speak to several people. Great, no problem. So that's where I come in. Myrtle Beach Police said, okay, great, we'll do some more interviews, and we'll see if there's any additional evidence that might be able to help them as the coroner's office determine the cause of death. Mm-hmm. Okay? None of this is to try and get you jammed up. It's just for clarification purposes. Okay? Anything you want to add to that? Okay. So maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I'm losing track of time, we went down a list of people that have reached out his mental health, his physical health, his personality, their relationships, the whole 9 yards. We did a whole bunch of interviews, probably with a lot of people that you know or have talked to at some point. in doing all of that, there was a lot of, I will say a lot, it was all pretty much the same direction. Himself. It wasn't so much speculation. It was, we know he did. Going through the initial investigation, when you were interviewed by Detective Saud years ago, right? That was never alluded to. It was more, there's no way he would have done something to himself. This was certainly an accident. Surely there was an issue with his chair, that kind of thing. So our reason for talking today is to clarify your original statement. Is there anything that you would say differently now in 2025?
No, and can I explain something to you?
Of course.
Let me break this down for you. He's a C5-6 quad. Do you know what that means? Tell me what muscles he can use.
Very few.
I mean specifically. Biceps he can bend. On his left hand, he functioned as a C6. On his right side, he functioned as a C5. On the left side, C6, he's got wrist extension that's a 5 out of 5 strength. I am a physical therapist specializing in spinal cord injury. So I've got some expert advice here, or expertise, whatever. He can bend his biceps. He has 0 triceps. Cannot control his triceps at all. His arm goes up like this. He can't move it. If his arm comes down like this, he can resist it with biceps, but he has no triceps whatsoever. He has absolutely 0 sensation in his hand. None whatsoever. This is C6, this is C7, this is C8. C7, C8 have 0 function, 0 sensation. C6 was spotty because it was a injury that was C5 on the right, C6 on the left. It wasn't good sensation. He could not feel his hand at all, okay? When he drives his wheelchair, the only thing he's using is wrist extension and his biceps, and then he's got some deltoid in the front. So he can extend his arm, he can move it forward, he can bend his elbow, and he can use his wrist extension. That's all he's got. No sensation.
Okay.
So that morning, the night before, he had forgotten to take his medications at night, and I had forgotten to give it to him. So he stayed up all night. He was awake all night long. So when he got up in the morning, I gave him his normal medications that he always has in the morning, and then he went for a walk to walk the dog, which is what he does every single morning. Probably at least one day a week on that walk, he usually starts to kind of fall asleep, or he just is tired, and he'll ride like this and drive. And he used to joke around and say, like, don't ever let me drive off the sidewalk, or don't let me, whatever. And we would have to like wake him up and stuff. So that morning when I get to the pool and they're doing CPR, whatever, the detective said, what happened? Okay, well, he was tired. He was up all night long. He finally gets the medications, which is the same medications at night as in the morning. So he finally gets those medications that he had missed, and he probably fell asleep. He went to the same spot in the pool every single day if there was a person that could let him into the pool area. If not, he went on the outside of the gate, and he would sit there, and he would play on his phone, or he would rest. That's what he did every morning after he walked the dog. That morning, obviously, a neighbor let him into the pool. And so, yes, I think he fell asleep or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen the video. And that morning when that detective's asking me those questions or whatever, I haven't seen the video. I have no idea. So yes, that's my best guess on that day at that moment that's what happened to my husband. I'm the one that lives with him. I'm the one that takes care of him. I'm the one that was there the night before. I'm the one that got him up that morning. I'm the one that gives him the medication. Not these other people. I'm the one that lives with him. Yes, I know he's sad. He's freaking paralyzed for 21 years. Would you not be sad? But does that guarantee 100% that he killed himself? I have no idea. I am not a detective, and I was not in his mind that morning. That is what I told that detective, and that is exactly what I stand by today. Okay. I have no idea.
Yeah, sure.
You decide.
Sure. What do you think? This is just hypotheses here. Why do you think this would come to light in 2025, several years later? Like, what do you think has changed?
Nothing has changed.
So why are they bringing it to our attention now?
Because there's a bunch of YouTubers that are talking about other topics that have killed himself. My sister-in-law was mad at me because she came to me like the next day or whatever, and I said, well, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if he did or not. And I said, but I really don't want you talking to the kids about that. They're 14 years old. Their dad was a motivational speaker. He did everything in his power to be the strongest man on earth for his kids. And he laid his life down for his kids every single day. So please don't mention that to my children. Mm-hmm. Let's just, if that's your thought, that's your thought. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Don't talk to me about it, and don't talk to my kids about it. And it apparently frustrated her to the point that now she's like, you know what? I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna whatever. I didn't even know that she's the one who started this. I have no idea why we're talking about this.
Okay. Have you talked to her recently?
A couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, and then I had to block her because she decided to tell my daughter himself, which devastated my daughter. Mm-hmm. And I said, please don't talk to my daughter about that anymore. Mm-hmm. And she reamed me out, text messages, blah, 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 how all these things. And so I blocked her. I was like, okay,
yeah,
done. All because she wants,
kids?
Yes,
yeah.
Twins that adored their father.
Sure, yeah, of course. Okay. Alluded to doing anything like that to you?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, how recently, from the time he passed away, was it recent that he was making comments like that?
He made, not specific to me, not within that week or whatever, but he would make comments periodically, He'd say that, he would talk about how hard his life was. He would talk about how it's so difficult, he doesn't know how long he can do it. But he was saying that in 2015, and he was saying that in 2017. Sure. This is not new.
Yeah, of course.
It was a hard life. And he started getting wounds that were like recurrent wounds, probably started 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. And when he would get a wound, he had to be in the bed on his side, which was extremely painful, and for weeks at a time. And it was miserable. And so when he would have wounds and stuff, that's when he would be like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. This is awful. And he would even say things like, there's nothing I can't even kill myself. Like, how ridiculous is that? I'm so paralyzed and so handicapped that I can't even if I wanted to, I couldn't do it. So yeah, he'd make it off and on.
Yeah.
But did he do it that day? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You weren't with him.
No.
Yeah.
And he didn't say it the day before to me. He didn't say anything to me the day before. The day before, he spent the day, he taught my daughter how to serve a volleyball because she was joining the volleyball team. Watched football. It was a normal day.
Did he ever allude to how he would kill himself?
He talked about the only thing he could do is drive into the pool.
Yeah.
Which he's probably right. I can't think of any other physical way that he could do it.
Yeah, right.
He would have to have somebody help him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's right. That's the only way he could do it.
Did he ever have conversations like that with your kids at all? About...
No, definitely not my daughter, and I don't think my son. I know with my son, he said that he... that it was a really hard life and that kind of thing. I don't know that he said anything like in detail.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did he have a conversation? You might not know the answer to this. I don't know. Did he have a conversation with your son the night before he died?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Have you talked to my son?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't. I think that was speculation, and that's why I wanted to... It's still speculation.
Yeah. My son has never talked.
Sure, yeah. 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 Okay.
Would he have mentioned
probably
something
not,
very grim?
Tell me anything, but probably not that, because in trying to protect me from that thought of your husband killed himself, my dad killed himself. He told me that night. That I don't know. My thought is he wouldn't tell me that, but I.
Yeah, no, I haven't talked to your son. Matter of fact, he's what, 17?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah. And another this again speculation, was there any sign of a suicide note?
No.
How leave a note if he wanted to?
He would have to do it on the computer.
On the computer?
Or on his phone.
Okay.
Most likely it'd be his phone, because he got to the point where if he, to type on the computer, he had to like lean to the right and he could type just to keep his balance. And when he would do that, he would get a wound on that right side.
Yeah.
So he started to do like 90% of anything on the phone.
Gotcha. Like talk to text or like...
Talk to text, or he would type it, like he would hold, because he would like get it like this, and then he would just type with this.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to get clarified?
I don't think so. Let me look back at questions.
Any questions that you had sitting here?
I'm sorry for yelling. I just think it's...
No, it's...
I think it's so sad for my husband.
Yeah.
I think it's so sad.
It's sad for the whole family. It really is. It's sad for the whole family. And I hate to reopen these wounds, but unfortunately, this is one of those investigations. I knew there was going to be some tough conversations, and it has been. It's been some tough conversations.
You ever had text messages with any of his family about committing suicide?
Probably so mad. I can't tell you the fury that goes into mom to know that an aunt, without asking me, knowing that I specifically said, look, we don't know if that happened or not, but please don't tell his children. Like, what's your goal? Is your goal to make my daughter think poorly of your brother? Is your goal to rip her heart out? Is your goal to make her feel that her dad abandoned her? Because you know what? That's exactly what you accomplished. So, well done.
But that was just
well
recently.
Done. Yes, it was, I don't know, a month ago. I don't know.
Back when the incident occurred.
Oh, no.
Any text messages that you would have had with
No.
anybody?
No.
Okay. So it wasn't a conversation that you had with any family members or any of his friends or anybody like that? Okay.
I mean, no. Like, I had other friends ask me, his friends ask me, and say, like, do you think he did it? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't know. I know that he was exhausted. I know that he was in a lot of pain. And I know that morning he went for a walk. I have no idea.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else that I've kind of been pondering or anything else that the other interviews would have kind of brought to light other than what we've already talked about. And I mean, I don't disagree with you. You weren't there, so how would you really know what his intentions were? That makes sense.
And like, so he would say things like that, right? So, you know, in his dark moments, whatever, he, you know, that's the only thing he could think of to even do to kill himself. There's no other way to do it on his own. But he could turn around. He was so verbal. You know, there's people, my son is exactly like him, where they vent something out, and then, like, for me, if I say something, I've thought about it, I've processed it, and then I'm communicating. Like this, when they say things, they're venting it, and then they feel fine. They feel 1,000 times better, and you think they're devastated, but really they just feel good. So he could tell me that in 2017 or whatever, and the very next day be playing with the kids and happy, and we're gonna go here, and and I'd be like, okay, I guess we're better today.
I guess we're good, yeah.
And so I honestly, I never thought he would do it, but I don't know. I don't know. You can't know the level of somebody's despair, and you can't know what they're thinking at every moment. Yeah. Like, did he think about it that whole night before? I don't know. Yeah. I was right next to him. Yeah. I slept on a blow-up mattress next to him on the couch because he couldn't sleep in the bed. Like, I was right there.
Yeah. Why couldn't he sleep in the bed?
It was too painful.
Because of the way he had to lay?
Yeah. So we have a couch, and it has, like, the automatic buttons, and it's like those recliner, but, like, the ones that really recline back. Mm-hmm. And so that was the place where he slept for probably the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I don't know. And we could get him in that position and then lift his right tuberosities where he always got the wound. So we could lift it up and kind of wedge a pillow there where he could like, whatever. He could keep his balance and sleep. So.
Is there anything that you've been wanting to talk about or get off your chest or ask? Do you have questions for us? Or, I mean, the floor is yours.
I think the whole thing's sad.
Yeah.
And I wish that my husband could just be remembered for being an amazing person. And I don't know why we have to bring it up and try to make him look like... Again, like, what's the goal? You want him to look like a loser? You want him to look like he left his family? Do you want him to... I mean, what is the goal? Do you want to expose that he was in this horrible despair as a quad? Like, what's the goal? Did he do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Listen, not one other person was there. Yes, there's a video, but not one other person was there. So can you say with 100% certainty? Can his sister say that with 100% certainty? Oh, well, she knows. What was she? They didn't even like each other. My God, they didn't even like each other. He had to gear up for every single time that he got together with her. So...
How is his relationship with his parents?
His relationship with his mom was really good. His dad lived with us. His dad's super annoying, but whatever, he was fine. He kept to himself. His mom and him were very close. He would share anything with his mom. They would argue from time to time, but she deeply, deeply loved him, and he deeply loved her. And he would always say, if he ever got mad at her or whatever, he'd be like, it's my mom. I love my mom. So he adored his mom. He struggled with him. They did not like each other. She's super quick. Always, I mean, family functions, she's got to say that when he was 12, he, whatever, took her CDs or whatever. They didn't get along ever. And actually, the last year of his life, I felt like, and he felt like they were starting to get along a little bit better. They could do small doses, right? Mm-hmm. Like she could come over for an hour, and then like 3 weeks later, they could talk on the phone for 10 minutes. Or, like that was kind of their max. Otherwise, she would get frustrated with him, and he got frustrated with her. His dad's just kind of odd, but... He loved his dad, but his dad wasn't like a dad. Like he never did anything parental for him.
So he didn't, when he was living with you guys, he didn't help like take care of him?
No.
Okay.
Fill up his cup of water. So when I would leave in the morning, I would put 2 cups of water because he could get his hand. There was a cup that had like a handle, and he could get his hand in there and like do this, and then he could drink with a straw. And so I would leave him 2 cups of water, and I would usually leave him like something like pack of crackers or peanut butter, something that he could slide off the desk and then try to eat. But sometimes he dropped it, but most of the time he'd land it in his mouth. And but anytime he asked his dad, like, could you refill my water? That's pretty much all he ever asked him. Could you refill my water, or could you grab me a pack of crackers? He'd be like, yeah, fine. Like he wasn't. He was never kind about helping him. Maybe, I shouldn't say never. He was probably kind once every 3 to 4 months about helping him get a cup of water. But he's a selfish man. He's just weird.
Okay. I'm good. Yeah, I appreciate you making time to come and talk to us. You were the last piece of the puzzle, to be honest with you. I mean, we've talked to a lot of people, and you were the last piece. So I don't know that, like you said, I don't know what the goal is. I don't know. But when it's presented to us,
it's very odd.
Yeah.
We normally have people fighting that it's not a suicide, not fighting that it is.
Yeah.
I know. It's so important. And I don't know if she did it. I would doubt highly that his mom is like passionately for it, but maybe she is. Shift gears, but whatever. Tammy, I'm just a realist. I just live in reality, and so I'm not going to cover anything up. And I'm like, I'm not covering anything up. Okay. That's your thought of what happened. I have my thought of what happened. Nobody else was there. doesn't really matter what my thought is, and doesn't really matter what her thought is.
Right.
He's in heaven with Jesus, and he's not here. That's where we are. So, whatever.
All
What's
right.
your phone number? Did you give me that? No. Just for my report. I think it's on there, but just to finalize.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else medically. He passed out all the time too, but I doubt that that's what happened that morning. He had super low blood pressure, so he always took in the morning medicines. He had 2 proamine, so that would raise his blood pressure. If he passed out, he wouldn't have been able to drive his chair, or he would have. Well, I don't know if his hand was on the joystick. That would happen too sometimes. His hand would be on the joystick and he didn't realize it because he couldn't feel it. So I probably said that morning too. I don't remember, but I do remember thinking that, like, well, because when he would fall asleep, if he was driving his chair, he wouldn't be asleep. He'd be like, he'd kind of do, I don't know. I don't know if it was the morning.
You did say that.
Yeah.
You did.
So, okay. So, sometimes his hand would be on there and he couldn't feel it, and he'd just...
Even his mother alluded to that. She said the chair is super sensitive. Like she's
so sensitive.
Yeah, she's like
people
this.
drive it into walls like that.
That's what she said. Yeah. Mom said the same thing. She said she's hit it by accident. The chair went flying.
It goes flying. Yeah. He was a great driver of the chair.
Yeah.
But you do have to be awake when you're driving.
Right. Correct.
So.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, again, sorry we're talking about this years later, but that's what it is. And I'm hoping after today you don't hear from us again, and this can be the end of the investigation. So.
Okay. Wonderful sister who adored her brother. It is, maybe I think that's deep inside of her heart, but she did not express it and communicate it to him well. The things she communicated were mean and hurtful, and she blamed him and said he was selfish her whole life and all these things that he would do when he was like 8 years old. Okay, like, what the heck? So that's really sad to me.
Yeah. And I won't say that she portrayed herself like that. She never really alluded to that. But my opinion, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think she got caught up in YouTube theories and all that. It was kind of the talk of the town for a little bit, and I think she got wrapped up in it, and it got her mind racing, and she talks to family, and that got, I think it was just a ripple effect. So, unfortunately, you were caught up in that ripple effect because you were, directly related to the case. But I wouldn't worry too much about it going forward.
Sorry for being emotional. I was really trying.
Oh, you have every right to
You have
be.
every right to do that.
For sure.
We're okay with that.
Yep.
I'm gonna really smile more.
Thank you.